we want to say a few words in praise of the empire. Now, don't get startled or shocked, nor yet think we are only sarcastic. We're not abandoning our principles, nor forgetting our wrongs, nor giving up as hopeless the fight for our rights, nor yet exercising the slave's last privilege, that of sneering at his masters. We do not love the empire. We hate it with an unqualified hatred, but nevertheless we admire it. Why should we not? Consider well what this empire is doing today, and then see if you can withhold your admiration. At the present moment, this empire has dominions spread all over the 7 seas. Everywhere it holds down races and nations that it might use them as its slaves, that it might use their territories as sources of rent and interest for its aristocratic rulers, that it might prevent their development as self-supporting entities and compel them to remain dependent customers of English produce, that it might be able to strangle every race or nation that would enter the field as a competitor against British capitalism or assert its independence of the British capitalist. To do this, it stifles the ancient culture of India, strangles in its birth the newborn liberty of Egypt, smothers in the blood of 10,000 women and children the republics of South Africa, betrays into the hands of Russian despotism the trusting nationalists of Persia, connives at the partition of China, and plans the partition of Ireland. North, south, east, and west, it has set its foot upon the neck of peoples, plundering and murdering and mocking as it outraged. In the name of a superior civilization, it has crushed the development of native genius, and in the name of superior capitalist development, it has destroyed the native industries of 1/6 of the human race. In the name of liberty, it hangs and imprisons patriots. And whilst calling high heaven to witness its horror of militarism, it sends the shadow of its swords between countless millions and their hopes of freedom. Despite all this, despite the fact that every day the winds of the earth are laden with the curses which its unwilling subjects in countless millions pray upon its flag, yet that flag flies triumphantly over every one of its possessions, even whilst its soldiers are reeling discomfited and beaten before the trenches of Turk and German. The British Empire never fought a white European foe single-handed, never dared yet to confront an equal unaided. Yet it has laid upon its subjects everywhere from Ireland to India and from India to Africa the witchcraft of belief in its luck, so that even whilst they see it beaten to its knees, they are possessed with a conviction that it will pull through in some fashion. Without that belief, without that conviction of the slaves that their master must remain in possession of his mastership, the British Empire would today be everywhere lit up with the fires of mutiny and insurrection. In the labor movement, we have long ago learned that it is the worker who is convinced of the power of the capitalist, who believes that the big fellas are sure to win. It is he who really keeps labor in subjection, defeats strikes, and destroys trade unions. The moment the worker no longer believes in the all-conquering strength of the employer is the moment when the way opens out to the emancipation of our class. The master class realize this, and hence all their agencies bend their energies toward drugging, stupefying, and poisoning the minds of the workers, sowing distrust and fear among them. The ruling class of the British Empire also know it, and hence they also utilize every agency to spread amongst the subject races a belief in the luck of England, in the strength of England, in the omnipotence of England. That belief is worth more to the British Empire than 10 army corps. When it goes, when it's lost, there will be an uprising of resurgent nationalities and a crash of falling empires. Should we not therefore admire the empire that in face of danger can yet fascinate and enthrall the minds of its slaves and keep them in mental as well as physical subjection?